People may not like everything I have said on television. I try to be balanced. But look at what I have done. Who among my critics have been able to get people together to help folks at the bottom? When we fight like this about everything, and you can't give anybody even a little bit of credit for anything, who hurts? It's not the politicians. It's not the pundits. It's regular folks who don't have anything.
Today, Van Jones appeared on The View. There was a clip circulating of Van Jones on The View where it looks like Sonny Hostin, like body slammed him about for his past dealings with Donald Trump and some things he said about Donald Trump. And even on this show, I've criticized Van Jones because I felt like he was being inauthentic, like he was putting on a show, like he was begging to be accepted by Democrats. Black. So anyway, so Van Jones, he had to apologize for his opinion that I think all of us are entitled to, and there's no reason why a person should have to apologize for feeling the way they feel. And when that didn't work, Van Jones had to go to another level of what I feel groveling emasculation, which was, hey, well, you know me, I'm emotional. You know me, guys, I'm emotional, guys. You know how I am. I cry all the time. I'm the most crying person on CNN. You know how emotional I am? Don't pay attention to me. I'm sitting over there like... So that clip was taken from back when Van Jones broke down on his show, The Messy Truth, that has now since then been canceled. Most recently, he cried again when Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in the general election. You may remember this clip.
Ann, what are your thoughts?
It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. It's a vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know, and you're going to the store.
So I've been critical of Van Jones in that regard. I got a problem with brothers breaking down like that anyway. Don't give them your tears, man. So, back to this point. So, on The View, Sonny Hostin confronted Van Jones.
Now, Van, you do spend a lot of time, threading the middle and trying to unite people. But there are those who really accuse you of being a political opportunist, a chameleon, so to speak, who provided racial cover for former disgraced, twice impeached President Trump. You said this, and I quote, "Donald Trump, and I get beat up by liberals every time I say this, but I'm going to keep saying it. He has done good stuff for the black community, opportunity zone stuff, black college stuff. There's a side to Donald Trump that I think he does not get enough credit for." Yet, just recently, you cried on CNN when Joe Biden was elected the 46th president, and you said, it's easier to be a parent now. Character matters now. Truth matters. You even mentioned George Floyd and said a lot of people felt they couldn't breathe. People in the black community don't trust you anymore. What is your response?
I don't think that's true. The entire quote I said.
Now, guys, in the original clip that I saw, they cut it off right there. After Sonny went on her rants and went up one side of Van Jones and down the other, that's where they cut the tape. So you had to go to YouTube to see the rest of it and listen to the rest of it and see if you still have the same opinion that Sonny bodied Van Jones.
The entire quote I said was that Trump has done a lot of good stuff he doesn't get credit for. And then I went on to say the reason I didn't get credit for it is because he's done all this horrific stuff, said all this horrific stuff, and it completely erases what he's done. But what happens is social media will take the clip, but they won't show the full context. And so what I will say is this. My entire life has been about bringing people together to solve tough problems for people at the very bottom who don't have anything. I've spent 25 years fighting against the prison system. I have helped to close 5 abusive prisons. And by working with Republicans at the local, state, and federal level, and yes, including the Trump administration, I have helped to pass 18 bipartisan bills. We got 14,000 people out of the federal prison system with the First Step Act and more to come. We got 70,000 human beings who were suffering in jails and prisons under COVID, released under compassionate release, working with Republicans and Democrats. Black Lives Matter, math matters too. 80% of Black folks are locked up in states that are run in part or whole by Republicans, red states and purple states. So when you can pass a law, as my team has done, in a Louisiana, in a Georgia, in California, Michigan, red states, blue states, and purple states, to get people home. The people behind bars are not sitting up here worried, saying, get me out of prison, Van, or whatever you do, don't talk to a Republican. They say, get me out of prison. And I am proud of the fact that my team at the Reform Alliance, Dream Corps, and Cut 50 have been able to work with anybody to get folks home. At a certain point, we got to stop focusing on rhetoric and look at results. People may not like everything I have said on television, but I try to be balanced. But look at what I've done. Who among my critics have been able to get people together to help folks at the bottom? When we fight like this about everything, and you can't give anybody even a little bit of credit for anything, who hurts is not the politicians, it's not the pundits, it's regular folks who don't have anything, people who can't vote because they're in jail. We have to put their interests first. I'm never going to apologize for putting the interests of people at the bottom first. People need champions. Whoever's in that White House, I've got a responsibility to go in there and advocate and try to get people home out of prison. I'm going to keep doing it, whoever's in that White House.
Damn. He did a good job, Johnson. He did a good job there. That was a pretty good job. Pretty good job there, Sonny. Retort. Sonny face like this. In fact, they went to commercial after that. It was just silence. No one talked. And then what's Bette Midler? Not Bette Midler. What's the lady with the big hair with the glasses? Anyway, she said, anything like, we'll be right back with a commercial. Joy Behar. So Betty White, so my thing is this, okay, first of all, he's right and he's wrong, okay? He's right in all the stuff he said, but he's wrong about those enterprise zones. Enterprise zones don't help Black people. Enterprise zones help rich people. Enterprise zones help rich people that got money to spend to dump into business in distressed areas. That doesn't necessarily help. There's no mandate that you have to employ people. You can open up a business, but bring people in. You don't have to actually hire people from the community. There's not enough requirements in the enterprise zones to actually really benefit people the way they should. That's the only thing I could really come at, because the rest, like the 5 abusive prisons he said he closed, that he helped close with his organizations, Cut 50. I've had his brother on the show. What's his name? Gosh. Brother from Cut 50 shouts himself out to discuss the First Step Act. They were instrumental in helping getting that passed. 18 bills, that's one of the 18 bills. 70,000 COVID compassionate release inmates out free, walking the earth, not in jail, probably on probation, but at least not in the jail cell. 14,000 out of prison. You got to give it up for that. So, and he ended very strong. He said, people behind bars don't care if I talk to Republicans or what I said about Trump. They care if I help get them home. That's what matters. And that should be what matters. But everything has to be politics. And it was like this over and over again. Mrs. Black was telling me that he did a segment he was being questioned by Anna Navarro. And she was bringing up stuff about, Van Jones taking pictures with Trump or with Kushner, and he was basically had to say the same stuff like, hey, I had to work with people to get people out of jail, and that's what I'm going to do. And he's right. There are people that are criticizing him, and I criticize him, who haven't done any of this stuff he's done. Shut down 5 abusive prisons. 5 abusive prisons. That's great work. Okay, so he's right. A lot of his critics have not done this. I didn't know he'd done all this. Holla at your boy, Van. If I can be instrumental in helping give more of a platform for this type of work, I know that's important stuff. So I'm not saying that Van Jones is right about everything. I'm not saying he doesn't play both sides. I'm saying maybe it's required work if you actually want to get things done, particularly when you have a Republican in office and they also control the Senate, which is what they did. They controlled the Senate, and now we're operating under a different landscape. But now that we got a Democrat in office, what we got? We got Democrats going, we can't do that because we need to be bipartisan. So that's the problem. But shout out to Van Jones on that point. Let me ask you something. Do they know us? When I say they, I mean the talking heads on cable news. Do they know you? They talk about the world as if it's a sport. They play political games, report on our pain, rack our brain to feed the stock exchange, but do they know us? Do they know what we care about? Nope. They're too far away. They can't see us. They can't feel us. They can't relate to us. See, when you want to know what's going on in your world, trust someone who lives in your world. Subscribe.